with me holding the phone. It was
Good morning and welcome to another conversation with Mose. And as always, I pray life is treating you well wherever you are in the world and that you're one day closer to your dreams, hopes, prayers, and aspirations coming true. Today, I have my special guest, my regular, DeAnna Dawn. And our subject for today is Love is Love. Good morning.
thank you, Mose, for having me, and I'm excited to be here. Can you hear me okay? I
Yeah.
changed my little audio situation a little bit. Hopefully it'll be better.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
okay, cool. Um, yeah, I'm glad to be here. We're talking about love today and how love is love, and we both have a sort of alternative way of expressing love and living love and being in relationship. So we talked about talking about that, and I'm happy to be
Right,
here.
right. Oh,
I'm happy to be here to do that.
and I have to say that I love how you have a eloquent way with words and
Oh,
sharing. And it's interesting because it's nice to get a woman's perspective on certain things. That part I really like because it's nice to have a similar but opposite opinion about different things and get somebody's bird's eye view perspective on stuff. So, well,
yeah.
well, I can definitely say it took me a lot of years to get to being an openly black gay man, and I have to put the black and the gay together because
Mm,
it's been a journey, and it's anybody that knows me, it's in my poetry, it's in my screenplay that's forthcoming, and it's it's been a journey, and I'm definitely going to write a novel, God willing, when I'm able to sit down and just focus completely on that. But
mm.
but yeah, it's been a journey.
I hear you. And I have a poly frame of view or point of view. I don't live a poly life. I'm not in relationship right now. Um, I'm definitely seeking something that works. There's been there have been attempts over the years. There have been various scenarios, but I did write a little bitty poem that
Okay.
kind of covers the history of my journey in poly life,
Okay. Okay.
and it doesn't have a title. It's just some thoughts I had inspired by you, the mighty poet that you are.
I appreciate it.
And here it goes. The poly dream to me is something of a fantasy yet to be. I just never really wanted to own anyone, and only I and I will own me. You may wonder, what is poly? A kinky fantasy, a freak off, an experiment, a diversion, an orgy? I say no. It's a deeper love with honesty, friendship, integrity. In my past, there were relationships. I'm yours, you're mine. Why you looking at her ass? You better not say because she's fine. But relations like those were others, never native at all to me. Because what is love unconditional unless permission to love is free? And wherever the love finds itself, that is where I'll be.
Wow. That was nice. That was real good. That was really, really good. Wow.
Woo. You like it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's like
I have
you because love your poetry. It's incredible.
and I really appreciate that. I mean, and honestly, I love poems like yours because I love people that are any poet. I mean, old, young, no matter what the race, gender. I just love people that are painfully honest in their work. Um,
Yeah.
and like I said, if it's long, then I want to know the reason why it's long. I mean, if it's taking me somewhere. But I like poetry that speaks to the experience of the writer, because I think that's the point of poetry, to provoke something in people. Just like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that feels that way. So, but my question is, I wasn't familiar with poly, but let me ask a kind of dumb question. Is that what, quote unquote, and this, I don't normally talk about famous people at all, but is that what, quote unquote, Will Smith and Jada supposedly have? Or is that just an open relationship conversation as opposed to poly? Is there a difference, I guess is what I'm saying?
Yes, and um, poly is short for polyamorous, meaning loving many, or in my view, capable of loving many. What I think they had, and they don't seem to have anything right now. I don't know what their deal is, but I know they had gatherings and parties that were sort of openly free and that sort of thing. But I think that the lack of full transparency um, may have been present in their union. I haven't read Jada's book. I don't know if she went through, the details of things, but I know that they never became public with another partner. And that's one of the hallmarks of poly life. It's expanding the traditional view of monogamy or relationships
Right.
or marriage or whatever you want to call it to include uh, others or um, other interactions, and for me, deeper interactions. And there's swingers,
Right.
and swingers are couples who are a unified monogamy, usually based couple who go out and just experience other people purely sexually.
Right.
There's no connection. They don't necessarily continue to get to know those people. They just go to a place where swingers swing, and they just have a sexual experience. And a lot of confusion exists around polyamory because people immediately go to, oh, it's a lot of people having sex together,
Right.
and that's not it.
Right.
And it could be if that's what they want. It's more of an expression of free will in the way that that couple sees fit to express it. So whatever their monogamy allows or their relationship allows is what they have, and that's what they've crafted, and what ideally they're doing. For me, the main hallmark is honesty
Right.
and clarity with your partner. Jealousies come up. Being honest about when you feel anything that could take away from the relationship, the core relationship
Right.
that that um, initially started with two.
Right. Well, for me, and thank you for that definition. So it's similar, but it's just depending on the people in terms of, uh, as far as open relationships and poly. It's they kind of similar, but not quite the same thing. Because open is more kind of like swinger situation as opposed to being in relation with someone.
Well, not always, because open relationships can involve a component where either or both of the people, the initial people involved, are nurturing other relationships. But usually, what I've seen in the real world with people who have open relationships is either they just bring someone in
Right.
to their relationship, not as a full partner, but as an occasional um, sexual partner,
Right.
or it's not a family that they're building. They just have experiences
Right.
either together or apart,
Right.
and then they come and bring whatever richness they've experienced with the other parties into their relationship. Whereas for me, an ideal poly situation involves a union. It's like a marriage is a union.
Right.
So there's shared um, spaces, there's shared rearing of children, shared finance,
Okay.
shared business life. It's an actual
Relate.
marriage
Right.
or two people.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. That's. I see that. Because I mean, again, like you said, I'm one of those people that, you know, you kind of like when you don't know something, it's like, oh, you start to think like everybody else. It's like, oh, it's just this big, one big orgy or one big. And I'm learning a lot of these new. It's another term that, and I don't want to call it a term, but it's another lifestyle that somebody else is, and it's pansexual.
Hmm.
That I have no idea what that means. I mean, again, I don't want to seem ignorant to the fact, but I really don't know. I mean, I've been hearing that word a lot, like
Hmm.
Janelle Monet and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of it. The host Wayne Brady,
Yeah,
pansexual. So, what exactly is? And not to say you have all the answers to these questions, but
the encyclopedia.
yeah. So, I mean,
Dornopedia.
right?
Uh, yeah, pansexuals are people who are just attracted to who they're attracted to.
Okay, okay,
It could be a woman today, it might be a man next week.
right,
It's again, it's definitely within the poly definition of being capable of loving wherever the love is.
okay, okay,
So you can fall in love with someone who was your best friend before. You can fall in love with a stranger who's the same sex as you,
right,
even though you've never done that or
right,
never been in love with a person or had sex with a person who's the same sex as you.
right,
So pansexual people, and they intentionally include the word sexual in it in defining themselves because it is almost uh, specifically sexual,
mm-hmm.
meaning that they can be sexually attracted to whoever, whenever, and however.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean,
And again, I don't like to throw the loose term on people
right,
because
right,
everybody who's monogamy focused tends to think that if you're not monogamous or traditionally monogamous, you are a wild, freaky
right, right,
person
right,
doing all kinds of things
right,
with no structure or any sort of commitment.
right.
Um, that's not, I don't think that's true with pansexual people. Some people are commitment phobic, period. So they
Right.
don't want to do anything for too long. But pansexual people are, simply put, are just people who are sexually attracted to um, multiple types of people. They may be attracted to a trans person.
Right.
They're attracted to a same-sex person or an opposite sex person.
And the thing about that to me is something we talked about yesterday. I have to agree when you a grown, more than grown folk person, you can design whatever relationship you choose. And I've always felt like that. I've never felt, and I've never been intrusive in other people's relationships either. Because to be
Hmm.
honest, I've met couples, straight, gay, that were great together. I didn't like them necessarily apart. I mean, like people that I was friends with, I thought they were great together. I had gay friends that were awesome together, but I didn't like them separately. I mean,
Mm.
they brought out some things in each other when they were together that I liked, and then when they were separate, I just felt like they were, I don't know, just different. And same thing with married couples that I knew that were great together, but I didn't necessarily like them separately. And
Hmm.
I have to agree that we created energy with people that we're with. Um, and I don't. So I've never felt like, again, intrusive or nosy with people's relationships. If you were happy, I'm happy for you. I've never. That's why I've never literally went after somebody who was already involved in a relationship, or how people try to hit on or try to infiltrate somebody else's relationship. I've never done that. Now I've been a cheater before, but I've never purposely went after. They were strangers to me. I mean, it wasn't anybody that I knew, and I sought their mate. Consciously. I've never done that. So
Hmm.
when I'm in around those kind of energies, make me a little It's just like I don't agree with it, and it's like I've been in situations where it's like people are. I don't know. It's That's when I get a little judgy. I mean, my thing is, you got a whole world of people out there to get with, but you want to get with somebody's mate. I don't. I have my thoughts again about it. I just think live and let live. But that's when I kind of get. And even though people have come at me, it's like, oh, but you cheated on people. But I didn't know the parties. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I was right. I'm just saying I didn't know the wife or the husband. So
Hmm.
I didn't have. I wasn't breaking bread with them and smiling in their faces, and I'm sleeping with your husband or whoever. But
Right.
again, that's when in my mind, I've never confronted anybody and said, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." But but I am learning that everybody has their own motivations in terms of whether it's sex or relationship or monogamy and it is a personal choice how you, because even open relationships, I think it depends on the people, because like you said, it's really whatever you design it to be, as long as it's honest and pure and stays that way. Because to me,
Hmm.
when you start getting into deceit and hiding stuff and lying to yourself, I that's when I would check out. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, now we're not even being truthful with each other. Um,
Yeah.
just like porn. I've been a
Mm.
porn person, since I was a teenager. Now I've never been a strip club person. I don't
Mm.
really. I mean, I'm not knocking. I've been to the strip club before, but I've never been a person that went to strip club and I'm going to give money. I've had friends do it, give me money to give to the stripper. And I have to tell you a story. I don't know the name of the club, but I was in my 20s and I had met this young lady at my part-time job. I met her at the mall. She was selling glasses and those little booths, sunglasses,
Hmm.
sunglass hut. So
Yeah.
anyway, fast forwarding, I didn't see her for like a long time, and I remember the first time I went to a strip club. It might have been Magic City or somewhere down similar or close, but I can't
Hmm.
remember the name. And some older friends of mine, guy friends, took me, and they were like, "Oh, I think I was like 20, 21." And I had never been like, "Oh, Mom, we're gonna take you to the club." So we went, and it was a young lady dancing, and I was looking, and she looked familiar, and I was like, "That can't be." So she came off the stage and she started walking around, and I guess trying to get a table dance. So she sat. She said, "Hey, Mose," and everybody was looking at her, and I was like, and I forget her name, but I knew her. It was the lady young lady I had been seeing, and we
Hmm.
we were friends. But I again now she's butt naked. She's like and she was like, "Hey, Mo," and
How
she
you
called
doing?
and she called me by name, and it was just all the guys looked at me like, "What the what?" And I, and it was funny, but they gave me money to put in her G string and all this other stuff, and I just laughed, and again, I didn't have no money for a table. She sat in my lap and everything, and all these guys are sitting around me, and I just laughed. But years later, she went to jail, to prison, trying to embezzle drugs into the country. I saw her on the news like years later, and I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just ironic how small the world is, but that was my experience, going to a strip club, and then here she is again. I'm running, and again, she was a sweet girl. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I ain't never knocked nobody's hustle. I mean, like, do your thing, do what you do.
Yeah.
I've never been just like people that say when you're dating for the first time, oh, I don't go to the club or I don't do this. I don't really judge people on that. Everybody's
Yeah.
motivation is different. You know, going to the club, I go to the club because I like the music and I want to dance. I'm not necessarily going to meet anybody. So,
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and enjoying yourself. I've never had that judgment at all. Uh, so again, like you said, I think everybody has their own uh, journey, and it's what you agree to as two grown people. And I believe in tying up loose ends in prior relationships. If you have feelings for someone else, that's where I have kind of issue. I really want people to be honest with themselves about who they want to be with. I don't believe in that leaving people hanging, and no matter what your sexual preference is, I think everybody deserves honesty as far
Mm.
as what we're bringing to this relationship. And I feel the same way about friendship also. Even back in the 90s when booty calls were a thing. I don't know what they call them now, but back when you was understood, okay, we're doing this. And then if one of us gets in a relationship, we're not doing this no more.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we agree to. But
Yeah.
I, I'm a firm believer in the old school, like, okay, and because I slept with people I worked with
Mm-hmm.
at a couple different jobs, but nobody knew because I wasn't the kind that I just didn't do anything different.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come to your cubicle or your office any more than I did when we wasn't doing nothing. So
Right.
I've never been that, and I can disconnect. I mean, a lot of my friends are like, I'm as sensitive and as loving and emotional person as I am. If there's no connection with you in terms of love or anything, it's
Mm-hmm.
just sex to me. I mean, I'm.
Right.
It's just like, and many people are surprised when I say that, but if I don't have any kind of connection with you, I'm very hardcore when it comes to that. I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to know about your problems. I don't want to hear about it. I mean, that's not what this is. And I've said it to people. Look, I feel for you, but that's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
but I'm very upfront about it, very honest. I don't want to hear about your home life, and if you just trying to get over. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So, and I hate. A lot of people are surprised that I have that attitude, but again, like you said before, being honest upfront,
Yeah.
and
It's key.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to. There was a lot in what you just said there.
Mm,
Um, I agree. For me, though, sexuality is extremely sacred, and so I've never been loose,
mm,
or there were some times where I was kind of juggling two at a time. And as I've told you before, I usually would have a boyfriend and a best friend because I have never been able to find one man who encompassed all the things that uh, I desire slash require
mm.
in a committed relationship. So I learned very early that I was sort of naturally poly, but I would never be sleeping with both. You know what I mean? There
Right, right,
there were a couple of times that I cheated, and I want to talk to you about cheating because um, if you're cheating with a person who is not open with their mate,
right.
how how do you how do you embody? Do you ever talk to them about it, or was it always just we don't talk about that? That's you in your life. When we get together, this is what we do. Was there did feelings ever form for the person you were cheating or you were who was cheating with you? I'm curious.
Um, Probably more feelings for me than for.
Hmm.
I mean, I can say that 100%. It was more feelings for me than for them because
So
I go ahead.
so they had more feelings for you than the feelings you had for them.
Exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I can tell you why I felt that way, or if you want to know, in terms of why I think that it was that way,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. It was more like I being single for me was one of those things I went through a lot of angry periods, very cold hearted periods, and I really for a lot of reasons, and I just could be cold and indifferent when it came to people that I was very intimate with. I just really didn't, especially if it was a lot going on, because sex was always my escape from my reality or whatever might have been going on at the time. So, and sometimes, but I was always honest about it. I never purposely led anybody on to believe that. And then I would say I cared for those people at some point, but I didn't want to be in a relationship with them. No, and
Hmm.
but I was like again, I was very transparent, but I could be nasty at times, and I'm not proud of that. But it was just one of those things. I could be a bitch, for lack of a better word, when it came to them trying to be more than that, than what we were.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I'm not proud of that.
So within your relationships, did you ever venture out and cheat on your partners? And if so, why?
Early on, I did. I was in a
Hmm.
long-term relationship after my first partner died, and
Hmm.
actually, I had no experience really on. He was my first relationship. He died, and then I went to this person came along at a really good time, really good person, but I really didn't know anything about maintaining a relationship or being in one. I mean, it was great at the time early on. Uh, he was different, a little bit more conservative, and a lot more experienced than me. So
Hmm.
I really was kind of making it up as I go. In
Hmm.
hindsight, I would have handled it differently, but now I know that I was very insecure. And some things they did too made me more insecure. Things that were said to me that I don't think it was necessarily purposeful, but it made, I think I got gaslighted a few times, and it kind of led me to cheat. Uh,
Okay. So you just kind of ventured out for additional validation, and there were people there who were giving you that validation. So you went into the process of being physical with them. Did you
exactly.
tell your partner, or did your partner find out?
No, actually, I didn't. Not even to
Mm,
this, I didn't. It was one of those, and I felt really guilty about it
mm,
because I still really cared about him very much. So it wasn't like I was malicious about it. It really wasn't. And actually, the guilt, I felt a lot of guilt about it,
mm,
and
mm.
I wasn't proud. But and it wasn't like uh, a whole bunch of different people. It was like just a couple people um, at the time. It wasn't like this. I wasn't like out there like that. It wasn't like that.
Mhm.
Um, but it was very the guilt I didn't like. I didn't like the guilt of it. Then I would drink and I wanted to tell him, but it was just one of those things that just and I was like significantly younger. I wasn't again. I didn't have any experience. I mean, he could have been cheating on me. I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have known because I wasn't. I didn't know the signs. I wasn't really paying attention. So I I didn't know how to bring it up in conversation. So, but now again, and this was like my second relationship, and the first one, like I said, he died, so I didn't have any uh,
Mhm.
nobody to go to ask. I didn't have any friends. I was very in the closet, so I had nobody to consult with. Say, oh,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I was literally making it up as I went along. So like I
Mhm.
said, in
Yeah.
hindsight, I don't feel bad about it. I just feel like I didn't have the
The
experience.
tools you
Yeah,
needed.
to have a
Yeah.
successful relationship. So I really didn't know. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I commend straight people that do it. That get married, and where's the blueprint? I mean, where do you go when you're having marital problems or whatever? And then, like I said, the other thing I didn't do is I didn't pray. I had my religious and spiritual conviction about it. I didn't think I could pray for my relationship, so I didn't.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my issue is that I didn't think I could pray. And what I can't ask God for help in this relationship. I can't, you know. Uh
Is it because of the uh, what you had been conditioned by Christianity to believe
exactly.
relationship to be?
Exactly. Exactly.
Got it.
I
Yeah.
I just didn't I didn't start praying for relationships till like even when Sam died, I just really felt like I didn't think he was being punished, but again, when AIDS came into the picture, I didn't have anybody to talk to about it.
Yeah.
And that was right
Yeah.
around the time I had met you, Paulette, and speech and all that. And I was dealing with that by myself, and I had nobody to really talk to about it. And again,
Oh,
it, not even my parents. So I had to, shoulder a lot. So even if I was having problems or feeling jealousy or insecurity, who was I going to call?
interesting.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have any, and then I got angrier. I was very angry in that relationship. I was, when I say angry, not at the person. I had a temper in my 20s.
Hmm.
I was very, very militant and very angry. If I thought it, I was real quick to cuss you out and to be vulgar to the point of if I got angry. I remember one day my partner at the time, his brother was living with him, and his brother was kind of older, a little condescending, a little nasty. Didn't care for me. I didn't care for him, and he was gay too, and he was living with my partner at the time, and I called over there, and he was nasty to me and hung up on me, and he's not here, and hung up.
Mm-hmm.
I threw on my shoes. I called a cab. And I went over there, was like, I was ready to regulate. I was like, motherfucker, who are you talking? You know what I mean? And then my partner was getting home. He was pulling up and he said, Mose, what you doing here? And I had my, like, literally house shoes on. I was like, I'm about to fight this motherfucker. Your brother lost his mind. Who we talking to? And we in the parking lot.
Right.
So he was like, Mose, you can't be fighting my brother. And I was like, motherfucker, I don't know who he talking to. So that was a lot of our relationship was that, and then a lot of my jobs, I was getting fired or quitting because I was cussing people out. I mean, all the time. And this is during the course of that relationship. So I had a lot of, because I had just quit BMG. So I met him a few years after that. So again, he took on a lot. Again, I was very, if I didn't like his friends, I was very vocal about it. He had some friends that would talk about his past, about he dated, pinkies, as you say. And his friends would insult him a lot in front of me, which I didn't really particularly care for. And I'm like, why you let them talk to you like that? I mean, it was because then I'm not one. I got my temper from my mom. I'm like, what? Who? What? And so gay life was a struggle for me because I was one of those people that I still was kind of me, but I wasn't like the typical. So my experiences in relationships were very challenging for me. I wasn't really the stereotype at all. So so I had a lot of conversations and a lot of, like I said, a lot of temperament issues. If I saw something, like I was very adamant, like, who is this? And again, I'm not proud of how, but it was other stuff rooted in that. It wasn't about the relationship. I had other issues going on I wasn't confronting. But I'm glad I've learned from my mistakes in terms of my role in past relationships and how I feel about sexuality. And then to answer what you said earlier about being sacred, I didn't really consider my body sacred until I got prostate cancer. And I was already heading that way of changing my views on relationships. But when that happened, it kind of sealed the deal for me. It was like, and
body's a temple to be taken care of in a pristine way, ideally.
and
Right?
but when you see your body go through stuff that women go through, that's what I call it. When you're bleeding from your penis from the healing process, that's something I wouldn't wish on no man. I mean, the whole prostate experience, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't wish it on nobody. And I said, Lord, if you get me through this, I will promise you I will never treat my body the same. And to survive the AIDS crisis and prostate cancer, I lost. I mean, I'm at a loss of words because then I lost a lot of friends back then. So again, my experiences are very different than people, but I still love and I still love the experience of love and all that. But I never, and like you said, I don't judge people because again, it's whatever you construct in your relationship. So, and when I'm telling people my history, on love and relationships, I'm very honest about cheating in the past. And they look at me like, why would you tell me that? Because I want you to know I'm not that man now. So, and I can say that. I mean, I can say that without even thinking about it. It's just not something, I'm glad I did that early on in my life. So I don't feel, I can't speak for someone else, but for me, that's a chapter I'm not, I'm good with. So I'm good with that.
Well, I have come to feel that a poly perspective is one that encourages a deeper honesty between people. So literally a couple can both see a person, find that person attractive, and be able to talk about it.
Right.
It's not like a sneaky glance here, or trying to get somebody's number, or start something. I met a guy recently who was nice, and kind of came to my rescue in a situation, and said to me, uh, my first question to him is, "Are you married?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Well, I'm poly. So for me, I don't involve myself with people who are married unless their wife is a full, uh, is knowledgeable participant in whatever it is we're doing."
Okay.
And so he went into this whole, "Oh yeah, but she don't understand, and she would never," and that. And so that means you're a deceiver
Oh,
to me.
right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which
Right.
completely off my list, because if you're deceiving your foundational partner, you can't add. You don't have a foundation that's solid.
Right.
You have a dishonest, deceitful, um, dalliance, in
Right.
my view,
Right.
not a foundational family.
Right.
And so if you've married someone who doesn't share your perspective in being open, that's your that's your cross to bear.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to involve myself in that.
Right.
There's no there for me. That it stops at the door.
Right.
And what I found is that black men, who I prefer, obviously, are very,
Well, I'm happy to hear you
very
say that. Happy to hear that.
you okay, and they're very slow to want to share someone they love and care about, but they're very free about sharing themselves
Right.
with whoever they want. So I think what's happening is monogamy is going through a metamorphosis on the planet, because people are not satisfied in these boxes that we have been told we have to stay in order to be functional,
Right.
be healthy, or for the relationship to be thriving, or whatever. When most people are poly and just don't know it,
Right. Right.
they're sharing,
Right.
and the two women have something in common. They like the same kind of man,
Right.
or the three women, or the four women, however many
Right.
you know exist. When What would be wrong with bringing all of that under one household?
Right.
Bringing uh, all 11 of Nick Cannon's kids under one big mansion, and everybody everybody's growing up together,
uh,
everybody's living together,
the
everybody's
shade. The shade. The shade. No, go ahead.
everybody's babysitting together,
Right.
or I should say Elon now, since it's a pinky thing too.
Right.
All 11 and six baby mamas, whatever it is. Why aren't they all on a ranch somewhere, living
Right.
in harmony? No, not harmony. I'm getting rid of that word because it has harm in it.
Right.
Living in peace, tranquility, love, freely expressed together. What is wrong with that?
Well,
Who has taught us and ingrained in us that, oh no, you can have other people, but it's got to be a secret. Can't tell this one that one is doing this. You can't tell this one that you're attracted to that one over there. It's nuts. It really makes no sense in terms of, even biblically. I mean, the polygamy was the norm,
right.
and prior to that, poly, you know, has always had a way to express. In the
Exactly.
matriarchies that predated the patriarchal societies we're living in now, there was an aspect of polyamory,
Right.
and we just aren't taught it. We aren't given structures to create a framework for ourselves
And
that will fit
and
a specific situation, and
and,
not one box fits all.
and the thing is, it's the same thing with homosexuality too. It's also something that's been around a long time, and it's not
Of course.
uh, talked about. And recently, I've been seeing more guys of a certain age, 70s, 80s, that have been together for long periods of time, um, that you don't see, because I have my issues with black gay love because you don't see it as often online or in movies, or it's usually the stereotypical, b-boy or, buff guy, and he's, that the stereotype. It's never my issue with the way black gay men are portrayed in movies. And I mean, even that Moonlight, which I liked that movie. I liked it okay.
Hmm.
But again, to me, the characters kind of fell into what I think they feel is palatable to the public. Whereas white movies, you might have a poly movie on a white couple or a white situation as opposed to a black. And they'll have
Oh
a
yeah.
whole movie. And I don't, matter of fact, I'm sure there has been movies like that. And
Hmm.
I
And
don't,
ser-
what'd you say?
and series. There's one called, I think it's You, Me, and Her. It was done in Canada, but it's streaming, and it's really really good. It's excellent, actually.
And those are the things that I have issue with. And it's kind of one of those things because I feel like the world isn't being painted the way I grew up in it, and it's kind of, again, my anxiety. But then I guess that's what Toni Morrison said. It then create it, create that situation. But
Mm.
like I said, even when I was in relationships, I didn't see anybody to mirror to. Oh, okay, this relationship, this is what they did. This is what I'm gonna do. And it was always given to, like, even Brokeback Mountain. Let's talk about that for a second. When
Mhm.
when I first saw that movie, I walked out of the theater the last 10, 15 minutes,
I
and
actually have still not seen that movie. I really need to watch that movie.
I mean, they got an Academy Award, and I'm just like, seriously? I mean, it was like, it was a good movie, don't get me wrong, but they're white. And I feel like
Yeah,
all these
they
movies about, and they were
closeted,
cheating.
right?
And what'd you say?
Cheating and deeply closeted in
Right.
their real life. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I'm like, and then of course actors, straight actors playing these roles and stuff, which is a whole nother conversation. But um, my thing was, I kept seeing it, and then I kept seeing all these movies about AIDS and all these movies about, and they were white people's experiences. These privileged white men, going home to die, and this is and that, and they're rich and they have health insurance and they have all these different, they're in the grand hospital and all. I mean, it was traumatizing me. It was like, what the heck? I mean, it was like black gay men did not have, unless they were effeminate or they were jocks or,
Hmm.
boy toys or whatever. But you didn't get like, I think it was a movie. People keep playing that meme of Janet talking to Omar about, who are you doing the bending? Oh, I don't know what. I think it was from one of Tyler Perry's movies. I can't remember which one it was, but it was
Hmm.
just to see more gay men looking differently, or even bi or whatever. It's like welcoming now, because I think the
Yeah.
door is open to where you're going to see it. But or you'll see a couple that's biracial. They're black and a white couple, or black and Hispanic. But you don't really
Hmm.
see black gay couples together unless it's sexualized, or, um, you know, they're like orgies, or they're bringing in stuff. Like even with the situation with Puffy, they're kind of glamorizing, you know, his lifestyle or whatever. And I have to agree with you. It's his lifestyle. It's his choice. As a
Yeah.
businessman, I respect him. I mean, he can do anything he want to do with, because now we're getting into a judgmental society where we're judging people on, if he want to have a freak off every day, that's his choice. But
That's his
I,
business.
yeah,
Everybody's free will is respected.
exactly,
To
exactly,
me, that's one of the places I draw the line. There has to be consensual free will.
right,
And it seemed like the jury decided that mostly everything was consensual
right,
and free will was fully engaged.
exactly. And, but I just hate that when it's, like even with the Bill Cosby situation, that's a whole nother conversation. But I, I just feel like black people are portrayed as monsters, and I didn't want to, necessarily get into a racial thing, but when we're talking about sexuality with us, it seems so vastly different, and treated differently as when, quote unquote, our counterparts. It's like, to me, it's normal for them. It's like, but when we do it, it's like, oh, you can't do that. You're black people, or you're non-black people, and why not? I mean, I just feel like they don't. When we make these choices and live these lifestyles, then all of a sudden, like the way they treated Jada and Will and other people that may have these kind of unique relationships. It's like they're grown people too. They just happen to be famous people. But
Yeah.
I think we get on our Christian soapboxes and be like waving our hands, and I don't agree with that either. I mean, that's
I definitely agree with that. I think Will and Jada, um, I was very uh, pleased when she had her entanglement and with August, and she was very honest about it. Not initially honest, but
right,
did the red table talk, and a lot of brothers were giving Will grief
right,
about
right,
being a simp, whatever it was. I don't care.
right,
They knew what they had already, and they had had their level of openness for many years.
right,
So, and in the circles they travel in, people knew, but they didn't make it public.
right,
They were in a beautiful position to actually publicize something that I think other people would have been able to embrace more freely if someone of their stature within our community said, hey, this is what we do. And this is how we like to express love. We love each other. We're together. At the same time, we allow other people into our union in this way or that way or whatever.
right.
Those are the things that fear based sort of hiding and um, deceiving first yourself because you don't love yourself enough to just be who you are,
Right.
and then deceiving those who follow or admire your work, and you don't trust them enough to follow and admire you for who you are. And that's the only reason people in the mainstream are in the closet. It makes no sense
Right.
that just like a Luther. We all knew Luther was gay.
Right.
Everyone knew that, but he never came out.
Right.
He never expressed. It would have set so many people free to come out and be um, who they were and be accepted. But with him deciding to stay closeted, excuse me, deciding to stay closeted, and not just him. I don't want to just point him out, but he's left the planet. There's some who are alive today who are closeted and could come out and could be, um, a beacon for people who are afraid to be themselves. So love is love, and it is absolutely free, and it feels good to love. Period.
It,
So we should, it's a little judgy, we could be exploring new and interesting ways to interact and love each other and show love and give love and receive love consensually and effortlessly.
it,
So I would love to see society moving more in that direction, um, as opposed to you know some of the things that are going on.
honestly, I believe that we are. I think the only thing, and the reason I keep bringing up the black side of it is that because we were taught from culturally that when black people have always been religious, use that the Bible, and you can't do this, you can't do that, and I think that's why we struggle with acceptance of the direction the world is going. And I I love going against the grain right now. I mean, I love being myself. And even
Mm.
the stuff I post, the stuff I write about, I'm very conscious of it. And I don't, I just think it leaves room for people to be themselves. If I can be a beacon or a reason someone says, you know what, I can do that too, um, then I'm going to do it. Because I think you have to unlearn everything that you've been taught to believe, um, through your own process, through your own, journey. But
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree with you. I think black people have kept us as a whole, um, for various reasons in this box that we can't do those things. You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't. You can't be this. You can't be that. And I don't like nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
so again, and it's generational. I think you have to undo, and it's up to us to undo that thinking. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. But I do agree with you. I think the world is changing. Monogamy
Yes.
has changed, and I think as long as you're happy at the end of the day, to me,
Mm,
I mean, that's really what. And like I said, I've never been one of those people. Maybe because of my parents, I've never been nosy about people's relationships. I mean, I
mm,
genuinely want people to be happy.
yeah.
I don't
Absolutely.
get any joy out of seeing people downtrodden or sad or heartbroken. And and when I'm talking to people that are healing from a relationship or going into a new relationship, I am the one you can call. It's like I'm never going to say get divorced or leave them alone or whatever. I'm going to encourage you to do everything you can until you decide that's just not what you want or whatever your deal breakers are. But I genuinely want people to be happy in whatever life they're living. Period. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
important to me. But again, I think as Black people, we have to unlearn stuff when it comes to our happiness, and we can't always worry about what people think. And
Right.
I think that's where the drugs and the alcohol and all that stuff, and then the sexual addictions come into play. And I'm not a therapist, so I can't even, I have no idea what those struggles are. But I know I had my own issues at the end of the day. But I have to say, DeAnna, I'm actually looking at the time before we go over.
Me
I'm
too.
going down a different thing. But I want to say, first of all, I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm hoping that in the future we'll be able to get other people in the conversation. Um,
Absolutely.
I would love to really, maybe we'll do a live one, maybe the first time, and we can do a conversation where people can join in and um, share their thoughts. Because I want to make it a safe space where people can say, whatever they feel. And
Absolutely.
and what I love about our conversation, and that I hope with every guest that I have on, is that it's not about agreeing with me or agreeing with each other. It's not. I don't want that at all. I mean, I don't want people to feel like they have to, mirror what I'm saying. And I like that you're very transparent and honest, and I want everybody to feel that way, no matter what their journey is taking them. And the last thing is, even me being honest about my anger, that's really who I am. I'm not. I mean, yeah, I'm this guy, but I'm a hothead. I can be, but I like that transparency and that we can actually talk about love is love and all the branches from that tree of love. So,
Hmm.
but also I want to mention before we get off the line that your basket, enjoying enjoy breathing basket, is now available on in my store, All Things Moetic, featuring the book of DeAnna Dawn, Eternal Youth, Eternal Life. And you guys can pick that up, and like I said, you will definitely enjoy it. It's a nice little, like if you want to get away, a little vacation, take it on a cruise, whatever you want to do. Get the book out, light some candles and some incense,
Yeah.
and sip whatever
Give
you're
it
drinking.
a great birthday gift. It's an awesome birthday gift.
Oh,
Hmm.
definitely.
And it came out during our season,
Exactly, exactly. But also, like I said, I want to say thank you to the listeners and people that enjoy and engage, and hopefully you learned something on during this conversation. And as always, I pray life is treating you well wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams, hopes, prayers, and aspirations coming true. Thank you for listening.